Okay, I'm just going to talk about the workflow for virtual reality workflow. I'm going to create a project whilst I speak. Right, that's busy creating, and I'm going to close the current project I'm on whilst that's doing that. So, there, close, save. Right, I've just been doing. So hopefully this is working. Check. Yes, it's working. Right, lighting. Let's turn off that baking. Yeah, it's not generating baking. Get it. Let's create a plane. I don't want to fall down the plane. Right, 3D object. Plane, terrain. Let's make a terrain instead. I could add terrain toolkit and make it so ugly. Don't think I can cope. I'm going to have to put a terrain in. Right then, I can go to asset store. Terrain toolkit. I don't know why he's produced a new one. Because his old one, remember this one, fill your toolbox, grab cinema, whatever it is. That looks nice, doesn't it? Don't like HDRP though. Yeah. Built-in compatible, that's cool. Real landscapes, very cool. How much is that? Is it on offer? Anyway, that's not what I'm after. Stop selling me stuff. Terrain toolkit, first of all. Right, that one, 2017. This is my go-to. Oh, come on. Right, love it. It seems to work now. I think they fixed whatever they were doing. Stupid rubbish they were doing beforehand. Not the terrain toolkit, but Unity, whatever they were doing. Right, let's import. Import. I don't want to update it. Looks alright. Maybe I should update it. I know that version works. Yeah, so this just gets me up and going, so I don't have to look at that terrible. Right, we imported it. I think we've imported it. Go away. That's no use. That window needs to go. I don't need a tab that tells me I have to get out of tabs to use it. Okay, so we go to that. We go to Inspector, Add Component, Terrain Toolkit. Okay, Terrain Models, Pamper. There you go. Multiple fractals, Fractal Perlin Smooth, and a few textures, all procedurally generated. And double click it. There we go. Boom. We've got something that looks remotely usable. Then we go to Textures. Smooth height, yeah, just sand it off because it's a bit bobbly, but it's all procedurally generated. And we can add our own textures as well, but that's, of course, I cover that elsewhere. So I just smooth that all off, sand it off. Right, okay, so we've got a lovely texture, and what I'm trying to figure out is the workflow for putting Oculus Quest 2 VR into this. Now, I'm not going to go into big details about it. If you want really in-depth details, I suggest you check out a Udemy course, Introduction to VR, by someone else. Which I'm working my way through. This is one of the best I've come across. VR Development Fundamentals with Oculus Quest 2 and VR. What was his name? He sounds like this.
In previous lecture, we worked on scene loading in VR.
Yeah. So, whoever he is, I forgot his name. Okay, come on, let's find his name. Tevek Luflok. Right. Right. Back to this. So, okay. What I'm not going to tell you how to compile into Android and get it onto the Oculus Quest via side loader and all that stuff, because all I'm really doing is just for testing purposes. There is a way to connect your Oculus Quest 2 to your computer, and then when you hit play, you can test it in Unity. That's all I'm interested in at the moment. Compiling it to run, that's way, way in the future. So how do we get up and going with testing in Unity with VR? And the answer is, it's a bit complicated. We have to go to Package Manager. We have to go Advanced Project Settings. Enable Preview Settings. All sorts of word thingy. And then we do a search for XR. It's install XR plugin management, which is fine, but that is not the. There is this, and this is where I always fall over. It's not just this thing. We've also got to do. Alright, so plugin providers Oculus. That gets the Oculus one in. And then we need Open XR as well. And there's another thing that comes along which gives us sample data, which is really, really important. Open XR as well. And there's an Oculus package which has bugs in it, which I'm still trying to figure out how to get that. Sure, whatever. Save. That's going to reboot, I believe. So, yeah. Okay, so we've done those two. We've done the XR plugin, and it's the interaction toolkit, I believe, is it for OpenXR. You should add the touch controllers, I believe. But this isn't the end of the story. We need XR interaction, which isn't going to be here. Deep breath. Right. Close that. There we go. So XR integration. And we need to go into Unity registry. Type it again. XR. I just have XR. Interaction toolkit. It's a preview. We install that. We need more details. And then we've got the plugin. But then there's also the Oculus integration toolkit, which we look up on the asset store. But I'm not going to go there yet. I'm not sure I need that bit. I might do, but this is the step that I fall down on. And then more should be samples. There we are, hidden. We need these samples desperately because they give us all the information on how to do it. Right, there we go. Okay, that was a key. Now we close that. Right, now we've got an XR device base. This is the one that works for me, XR rig. Right, and that should be. I don't know if we can put a rigid body on that, but that's the. That's the XR rig. So when we hit play, we need to have Oculus Link enabled, hopefully, and then input to game view. I don't know. We've got another camera. We need to make sure there's no other camera. We've got the camera. We've got the camera. Then we need to add a locomotion system. I'm sticking with device based because I know that works for me. And in these controllers here, snap turn provider, you add, and I want right hand thing to be the snap turn. So drag that into that. Make sure the XR rig is linked in. So teleportation, also very cool, and I've forgotten how I do that now. I believe I add a teleport anchor to the terrain, and that means I can teleport everywhere. XR. Teleportation area. There are. There are. So I've made the whole thing teleportable. Is that everything? What have I forgotten? Sorry, locomotion. Teleportation is important. Slap turn, and then we need to add XR lower. Movement. Continuous movement. I think it's action based. Device based. Snap turn was device based. I think this is probably going to be device based as well, so we'll remove that component. Continuous move, right. Turn amount I want to be 90 degrees. Controller I want to be the right controller, so add that. Drag the right hand controller in. Drag. The locomotion system is referenced anyway, so I don't need that. Dead zone, blah blah. Should be a move speed. Let's make it 10. Right, save that. File save. I'm going to add a rigid body. This may fail terribly, but what's going to happen? You're gonna. No, you've got no. Use gravity sure. Add component collider. Capsule collider. Hopefully that'll stop you falling from the. Okay. That's not quite what I intended to happen, but that makes sense. Remove component, add component, box collider. Right, let's see what happens. Right, okay. That should be alright. Now I'm going to get my Oculus on. Something's not right. Something's not kicking in. File, save, edit, project settings, XR plugin, Oculus, fix these. I have no idea what it does, but plugin providers, Oculus. Right. Now, let's close that. Close. I hit play. Oh, I don't know what. Right, let's go and plug in. I'm going to plug in my Oculus, and hopefully that's going to work. It may not. I may have missed a valuable step, but even if I have, and I may have to bring in the Oculus integration stuff from the asset store, but I've covered most of the important things. Right, just setting up the Oculus stationery. Right. We've got Oculus Link working. We need to switch that off. Is it not plugged in? It's not plugged in, it's unplugged itself. It's a good job I did catch it as a habit of uncharging itself. Unable to start the Oculus plug-in, and that's because I haven't plugged it in. So let's right, allow access to data. Allow. Right. Enable Oculus Link in the headset. And we haven't hit play yet, so it's thinking about it, setting things up. So 3 dots glowing. Oh, it's waking up. I needed to, if you've got an old graphics card, it really does struggle with Oculus Link. So I put an RTX 9060 in, it seems to work okay. We'll click on desktop, so we can see the desktop, and then hit play. Let's see if this works. Go. Alright, so I need... What snap turn on? Oh, can I teleport? I can't move. Oh, I can move forward. Alright, that right, the continuous move isn't working particularly well. Continuous turn. I haven't got continuous turn. It's very, very cool being able to be in Unity and VR, even if I'm even if I keep porting up my phone. Right. Okay. I'm going to start feeling it. Oh, I've fallen off the terrain now. Okay. Okay. Right, so we stopped that. How far away am I from the... Oh, I'm surprised I fell through. So left-hand controller, that's all well and good, but that's not what we're after. We're after the locomotion system. Oh, I feel a little bit nauseous. Continuous move provider, that's fine, that worked fine. Teleportation, did that work? I'm not sure that worked. Snap turn provided, right hand. I need a continuous turn provider. Continuous turn provider, device based. I don't see any continuous turn, so we'll do grab the left hand controller. Automatically did it for us. Turn speed 60. I'm going to cut down on the 90. I think maybe 45. Save that. So this isn't even using the Oculus integration toolkit itself. Right, here we go. Oh, turn, forward. Need some sort of... we're getting a kind of footstep jog from the cube, because we're basically a cube with turn around. It is weird being inside Unity, but it's very, very cool. And if I teleport, can I teleport? Yes, I can with whoa, I've fallen over. I'm not sure how. I'm like a turtle. I don't know how to get out. So yeah, because I put in the teleport and made it a teleport area, I can teleport around. I believe I've fallen underneath the Oh. Can I get over there? No. Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to do some more work on a control system, so we'll stop that. We'll start it again. And we'll think about, maybe I can turn the mass. Oh, yeah, I can turn the mass down so. Right. I could make it wider so I'm less likely to fall over. I need a Shreemec, self-righting mechanism. I could really do with a smoother ride as well. I don't really like the jogging. So, box collider, let's make it 10. 10. 10. I need to do this. Is that just going to happen, is it? Let's try again. 10. Yeah, so it's very exciting, and all this is so this would make, if you built this, I believe this would build as a kind of PC link game rather than onto the Oculus itself. To build into the Oculus itself, it's a lot more involved. You've got to register as a developer, and then you've got to get your app number, and then you've got to. It's not nearly as smooth as this. So. Oh, no, this isn't good. No, and now I've fallen over. Now 10, 10, 10 did not work as a body. Right, let's stop that. We'll keep it as maybe 0.5. Let's try 0.5. Might fall over too much. 0.5. 0.5, and we'll change the mass to 0.1. So we're not quite so aggressively grabbed. Right, we should save that. Right, how are we doing? This is amazing. I can't wait to put a forest in this. Again, the trigger button to. Alright. What happens if we do 0.1? And it's oh. Okay. Right. So we're going to have to do something about the teleportation, and it's interesting because it ties into the work I was doing with the ray gun, the grappling hook that I was working on. I imagine my grappling hook would be a lot more use than this there. This thing, I wonder, sticking the Invector controller and sticking this on top of the Invector controller, but I suppose the Invector controller is linked to the Invector rig, so it may not work because of the camera angles and everything. So I just think this right. I'm going to change the mass to 0.01, 0.01, and I'm going to change these to 0.1. So we're trying different factors just to see how it all works. I imagine it's not going to work. I can't tell. Just try. File save. Hit play. I may try and figure out how to use the Oculus integration kit. Well, that didn't work, so let's not do that. The mass was fine. I think it's the size is too small. We're falling between the cracks. 0.5 is fine. And then somehow we're going to have to stop the teleport going through. I mean, what we could do is create areas above the actual terrain. Like we could create some sort of material or mesh. I think there's a thing of turning terrains into mesh, which I cover somewhere. And then we'll have a mesh that will just sit there and stop us from falling over everything. Terrain to mesh. Right. And then we can have some sort of catching thing to stop us falling. Right. Okay, so we've got physics. We've got right hand control. Again, we need to sort this texture out. It's fixing. But it's not bad for a basic, for a free texture to get going. Especially considering the Unity got rid of standard assets. We need to bring back new standard assets for 2021. Really cool. Do all the stuff they did in the assets. Because standard assets was so good. So many really interesting things they did. So there you go. Getting into VR. Like I said, if you want to actually compile into... let's turn around. Look at that. I suppose you're not really seeing it. You're just seeing the screen. For me, I'm seeing full screen, 360. I can look around. Even though, unfortunately, with the Oculus, you haven't really got periphery vision, so you feel like you've got a pair of binoculars on all the time. But it is something else to go into this and be able to see textures. And it even got a built-in footstep system, which is ridiculous and funny. Although, to be honest, I'd rather not have it. I don't know how I do that. Perhaps I wonder if there's some sort of anti-grav we can have or a spring system. Maybe we can stick a spring system at the bottom of the box. A suspension. Smooth it all out a bit. I don't know. The possibilities of this are just incredible. I love it. A whole new frontier. VR. Yeah, so... Like I said, if you want a bit more cross-platform stuff and other headsets, this is purely for the Oculus Quest 2 because that's all I've got. I can't figure out the other stuff without using it. I haven't got the budget for that. So I hope that's helpful. So what did we do? I'll take myself out of VR. Pause. The next step is to put a forest in and try a forest and see how that goes. And of course, the advantage of doing it this way is we're using the PC's graphics potential. We're only using the Oculus as a terminal. But unfortunately, the disadvantage is you're tied to having a PC. So that's why Oculus Quest games on their own are very powerful because you just don't need the PC. You don't need a PC. But the graphics are limited. But like I said, you compile to Android in the build system. Build settings. So at the moment we're set for PC. So this would create a VR application that you'd run on the PC, and it would work, but only if you plugged in and went via the Oculus Link thing. Whereas if you wanted to build it for Android, you need to build it for Android and then get it onto the Android machine. Although build and run with Unity does stick it into your Android, actually releasing it to other people, you have to use SideQuest and get past the quality assurance of Oculus, which is fairly strict, as you can see in the Unity Learn stuff about what you need to do to get past them. But that's all in the future. I mean, first of all, you've got to, and this is what I was telling people. Let's close that. This was telling people. First of all, you've got to get to this point. Then you've got to create the game. You've got to get stuff going first before you can actually start thinking about quality. Same with ergonomics. Ergonomics is great, but first of all, you've got to actually get it working, and then quality and ergonomics are massively important. But they're the that's after you make the cake first, and then you put the icing and all the rest of it in to make what is it? The stuff in the middle, the filling. Okay, so what did we do? We put in the XR from Windows Package Manager. We put in the XR Interaction Toolkit, which you can only get if you get Enable Preview from the Advanced Project Settings. You enable Preview, you put in XR, Oculus, and I put in OpenXR, and then it's the XR Interaction Toolkit with the samples, because the samples do all the hard, heavy lifting for you, set it all up for you, gives you that XR rig that you can just add. And then, if you want to take it further and learn more, I suggest having a look at Udemy and have a look at this guy, because he's really been very helpful. Tevik Uvuk. Right, okay, I hope that's of use to someone. I know it's of use to me, and I'll be using this as a reference to remember exactly what I did. I get a bit confused sometimes with these XRAMs interaction because they don't turn up initially. You go, where is it? And you have to enable things. So it's the XR integration, and then in build project settings, XR plugin management, and you add Oculus, and I've added OpenXR. The one thing I haven't done in this tutorial is I haven't added the Oculus integration kit, which you get off the asset store, because that was giving me all sorts of bugs, but I'm going to try and fix those bugs and see if we can figure out how to get rid of the control system, the Unity control system error. That's what I'm working on next. But I hope you're excited as me with this stuff. I just think it's the future of gaming, to be honest. But I'm not quite sure how or where it all fits together, but I know it's really, really exciting. Right, I hope that's of use. See you in the next one.